morning, everyone. My name is Carla, and you have reached my FlossTube channel, KarlaBeingCrafty, where I talk about mostly cross stitch, but also other crafts that I'm involved in and a little bit of life thrown in. Today is Sunday, January 23rd, and this is my FlossTube number 126. If this is your first time finding my channel, then welcome. I hope that you like what you see, want to hit like and subscribe, and come back every week and share this time with me. And if you are one of my returning viewers, then thank you so much for coming back and spending this time with me. I'm looking in, the viewfinder. I see my hair is being very, very weird today, so please forgive the weirdness. I tried to, put on a headband to tame it down, but I took my shower yesterday. I don't know if this is why it's being crazy, but I must have picked the exact right time for when they were working on some kind of plumbing or something in my apartment complex, because I got in the shower and, and I was in there, I got all soapy, and I'm like, the water pressure isn't as good as it normally is. And I'm futzing around with it. And as I'm futzing, it's like getting less and less water pressure. And so I would like turn off the water and turn it back on totally. And it was getting worse and worse to the point where, first of all, I had no hot water and I had so little water pressure that I have the type of, apartment bathtub shower where, you turn on the faucet, it comes out of the bath, and then you pull the thingy and it comes out of the shower. Well, turning it off and on to try and see what was going on, it just got worse to the point where I only had cold water coming out of the tub faucet, and then when I tried to turn the shower on, nothing would even come out of the shower. So I ended up having to rinse my hair with cold water out of a cup, held under the bath faucet, and that's all I had. So I don't know if the cold water made my hair weird. I put little conditioner because I was just trying to get out of there and not have to dump cold water on my head and body any more than necessary. So yeah, when I got out of the shower, I tested out my bathroom sink and my kitchen sink, and it was the same. There was kind of lower water pressure in the cold, and then when you turned it to hot, there was nothing. So this was, yesterday evening after the apartment office had closed, so I figured I'd call maintenance today. But then I heard banging going on, kind of in the distance, like somebody was doing some work or something. And then about an hour or so later, I tried everything and everything was normal. So I managed to take my shower just in that small time frame when there was no hot water and no water pressure. So yes, I'm very psychic that way, right? I had all day to take a shower yesterday, but I chose the, half an hour when I would have to take a trickle shower in cold water. So a quick reminder today, I'm sure after this goes up, unless the YouTube upload is very, very slow. We will be having our Stitchy Zoom meetup today at 2 o'clock Pacific time. There is still time if you want to message me on Instagram. I can still send you the codes. So I will be checking my phone to see if there's anybody who wants, to get in last minute. But just a reminder on that. Also, reminder, upcoming sales or current sales that I'm participating in, that I'm kind of, I don't know if hosting is the right word, but the Twisted Rainbow, #Twisted Rainbow sale, for anybody who is working on any of the Northern Expressions, either Twisted Rainbow sampler or Twisted Band sampler. If you'd like to post pictures to that tag, that would be fun. And then coming up in February, which will be not next week, right after next week, is the #BeMyOwnValentine sale that I'm hosting. Basically stitch on anything that has a bee in it, to just remind ourselves that self-love is important, regardless of what your status is as far as romantic partners in your life. You still need to be your own Valentine. So Be My Own Valentine sale, which is BEE, My Own Valentine sale. Okay, let's see. Life update. So, unfortunately, my entire family, Aaron and Stacy, and the 3 kids, all have the COVID. Yes. So, I have not been anywhere near any of them for several weeks. I was supposed to go over there next weekend, but I don't think that that's going to happen. So actually this past Monday, I stayed home from work. I had a slight fever on Sunday night and wasn't feeling good Monday. So I stayed home from work and I took a rapid COVID test. Actually, I took 2 and I didn't have anything. So I wasn't really concerned about that. But I also found out on Monday that Reagan, started with Reagan, which isn't too surprising. She is the one person in the family who kind of goes out in the world a little bit more because she is on a cheer team. So she goes to the cheer gym, which is supposed to be, you know, safe and wearing masks and vaccinated and yada yada. But, you know, Omicron is so contagious that, you know, it almost, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but, you know, it's hitting people, vaccinated, non-vaccinated, whatever. And being vaccinated just is very helpful to keep you not to be too sick. So everybody in the family is vaccinated, boosted if they could be. But it started with Reagan. Then Logan and Stacy started not feeling great. I think yesterday Hudson was starting with a fever. So it's just running through the whole family, which is not unexpected. They're, you know, 5 people in a tiny house. So, so far as I've heard, my brother has had no symptoms. They decided to not necessarily take tests for everybody until there were symptoms or whatever, since they're all gonna isolate anyway. They might as well just, you know, not worry about it. So Aaron hasn't showed any symptoms yet. I mean, he may still have it asymptomatically. My friend said, and she's a medical writer, so she keeps up on all this medical stuff and does a lot of, you know, research and reading all of the statistics and news and whatever. And she said that one of the studies is saying that for people over 50, the booster shot does help even more to keep symptoms at bay, or to help not getting, I don't know if it was not getting Omicron or not getting symptoms or whatever, but that might be why Aaron isn't showing any symptoms and Stacy and the kids are, since he is the oldest. So who knows? I haven't heard, I could be wrong. As of today, he could be not feeling well, but Reagan and Logan are definitely on the mend. Stacy is still feeling pretty crappy, which isn't surprising because she just wants to take care of everybody else. And, you know, when kids aren't feeling well, all they want is their mom. And so she's been getting no sleep because of that, on top of not feeling well. And she has asthma, so the Omicron is kind of exacerbating her asthma symptoms. But everybody is fine. It's, you know, it's there's no fear that anybody's going to like go to the hospital or anything like that. It is a bit of an emotional anxiety producer, particularly for our family. For those of you who've been watching me for a while, you know that my mom passed away from complications with COVID a year ago, almost exactly a year ago. Saturday, this coming Saturday, will be the anniversary of her passing, which is one reason why I was supposed to be with them. And it turns out I'm probably not going to be with them, and I'm going to be alone on that day. So we'll have to Zoom or do something. I'm kind of like turning my brain off of it. I don't really want to think about it that much right now. But yeah, so, you know, there's been that stress, and, you know, I'm not like super worried about them, but that underlying stress is there. And, you know, so, it is what it is. Omicron is not fun, and it is hitting so many people. Okay, so back to cross-stitchy stuff. I was corrected after my last video last week. I had talked about meeting Julie from Stitching at the Cabin, and how I was like excited. It was the first time I had met another FlossTuber, and I was reminded by Tina Frazier that I did in fact meet her and Gary Hoveder, I think is his last name, but Gary from GaRon Stitchery. I met them back in 2019 at a Southern California Stitchy meetup day when I was going to those. And Gary happened to be in town. He travels a lot for his work and goes to whatever like stitchy hangouts or meetups or LNSs are in the area that he happens to be staying in while he's working. And so he happened to come to a Saturday stitchy meetup. And Tina also was in town that weekend helping her mom like pre-move, and then her mom ended up moving back to Ohio with her, but they were both happened to be in town that one weekend, and I did meet both of them. So I stand corrected. Julie was not my first floss tuber that I met, but you have to forgive me. I was a baby floss tuber and stitcher back in 2019. So I just didn't remember, although it was actually pretty exciting to meet Gary. And I actually sat next to him while we were stitching, and I saw him stitching on one of his, they're not gnomes. I don't know if they're, I don't know what they are, but they're little like Christmassy. They're not elves. They're not gnomes. I don't know. It was this little guy that he was stitching on very, beautifully, as of course. But anyway, so that I was corrected. Julie was not the first person that I met in the YouTube community. Also, I was neglectful last week to give a thank you shout out to Laura from Stitching at the Shore, who so kindly kind of shouted me out and shouted out my Be My Own Valentine Sal. The first time she did it in her video like 2 weeks ago, she said the wrong tag. She said Be Your Own Valentine or something. And then she corrected herself in this past week. But Laura is great. She is Paper Laura on Instagram, because she used to do a lot of card making stuff, which I think she still does, but not quite as much as she used to, because I think she's doing it as a business, and now it's just more sometimes kind of thing. But she's really fun to watch too. And so thank you, Laura, for shouting me out. And I love watching your videos. So you guys should go watch Laura as well, Stitching by the Shore. Okay. I think that's all of the preamble for this week. Forgive me if I'm a little scattered. I woke up, I had a headache this morning, and yeah, so sometimes, sometimes it's a bit more of a chore to get up and get ready and do video, and then when I'm doing it, I like it, but it was a little bit more of a chore this morning. I have a touch of a headache, and actually that brings me to a point. I have to say, a problem this week. Excuse me while I ingest some caffeine here. So I spent the whole week overtired. And I really have no one to blame but myself, because what would happen was I would be exhausted. It started, as I said, I wasn't feeling well Sunday night, and I stayed home Monday and slept a good portion of the morning. So I think that threw my schedule a little bit off, let's say. So when I was stitching Monday night, and really every night this week, I started stitching. I was enjoying the stitching, and then I would realize it was like after midnight. And it's like, okay, you have to put stuff away now, take your medicine, go to bed. And I was doing that every day. And so then the next morning, I would be way overtired. I'd be exhausted all day at work. I'd get home, I'd be like, I'm so tired. I have to go to bed early. And then I'd sit down on the couch, I'd eat a little bit of dinner, and then I'd start stitching, and I'd get into it, and I'd look up and it'd be midnight or 1 o'clock. So I was going to bed way too late every night and being exhausted all day, and then, got my second wind at night with the stitching. So I really have to make myself this week put the stitching down, 10:30, 11. Pack it up. Even if I'm into it, pack it up so that I can go to bed. If I go to bed by, if I am in my falling asleep, relaxing mode by midnight, that's fine. But when I'm like up past midnight, and then it takes you half an hour or so to wind down, I end up overtired. So anyway, I have to really discipline myself this week, because, I really enjoy my stitching. And I think if I had my ideal life and didn't have to work or whatever, I would probably be up stitching till probably about 2, and then I'd get up around 10. that doesn't work with having a job and having to get up at 7. So, okay. So, into the stitching this week. I did not have any new starts. I did have a small finish, which I just think is really cute. It's this Mill Hill ornament. I did do one of my little extra videos on Wednesday. I guess they're not like so much like extra now, like because I'm trying to do them every Wednesday, but whatever. I'm still calling them extras. I did the beading on this, or I showed how to do the beading on a Mill Hill kit in my video on Wednesday. I just glued this to another one of those glass candle lids. I really like these because they stand up because of the shape. Well, it's not going to stand up now because... But anyway, they do stand up on my shelf, and yeah, I really like it. One thing I did forget to mention in that video, which I think is a great tip for doing Mill Hills, and okay, I'm not going to show you the actual pattern, but I'm going to show you the instruction part. Okay, so this is the Mill Hill Love ornament, and if you notice down here, these are the beads, the symbols for the beads, and these are the symbols for the stitches. And this is very typical of Mill Hills. All of the bead symbols are circles or round, and the stitching ones are not. And that is very typical of Mill Hills. Somebody told me that a couple years ago when I was doing Mill Hills. It's like, did you realize that all of the beads are round symbols and all of the stitches are non-round symbols? And it's actually a really good tip, because when you're looking at the charts, because, you know, they look very full coverage because, you know, the beading, it can be difficult for your eye to see, but once you know that all the round ones are beads, you can kind of ignore them, and you don't have to keep referring back and going, what is that I'm missing? So anyway, that's just a tip. You know, look at your Mill Hill chart and you will realize that that is the case, that most if not all of the round symbols are beads. Okay, so that was my finish, and okay, my whips that I worked on this week. I did actually quite a bit. I got a little bit obsessive with a couple of the patterns and worked on them more than once because I just couldn't let them go. Okay, so let me start with Eva. Yeah, this is Nora Corbett, Eva, one of the Bewitching Pixies. And I'm doing this on this really great fabric that is a GaRon Stitchery exclusive by Flair. Let's drop the needle minder. Hold on. Ugh. Okay. And that's how far I've gotten. So I am really quite moving along on this. I actually think that I can maybe get her done maybe in the next week. I definitely, even though like she doesn't fit in my theme for next month, but I'm going to keep her out and keep stitching on her at least once a week until I get her done. But I'm going to push on to get her done maybe this week. Maybe I'll work on her 2 or 3 times and see, because she's really close and I think she looks really great on this fabric. So yeah, I'm excited with her. She is a Nora Corbett, so she's just the tiniest bit easier to stitch on than, say, a full-on Mirabilia. So she does go faster. Okay. We have Enchantress of the Abyss. This is Bella Filipina. Okay, there we go. So I got a lot of stuff done in here. I realize it still doesn't really look like anything except for blocks of color. But I actually have gotten a lot done. This is kind of the flowery area. She's holding flowers like this, and this is kind of the flowers, and her arms are starting to come in. And this is a lot of there's 2 variegated silks, and those are in the pattern now. You can see her shoulder, but until I think I get her face in, it's not going to really look like anything yet. But her colors are gorgeous. Okay, this is my Autumn Equinox Pixie. Another Bella Filipina. And I talked this week about how I had started to change the color, her skin color a little bit, because the light tones were just getting lost on my fabric. So I have changed her skin. This, like right here, is kind of underneath her chin, and then this part is hair. So, but I got her whole chest and shoulder area kind of done. I'm excited to get to her face too, because that's one thing about the Bella Filipinas is I think that they, for the most part, have really, really pretty faces. And so I hope that I can do her justice. And I have noticed, it's funny because I'm working on Bellatrix. I didn't work on her this week because I was sort of obsessed with working on Eva. But when I stitched my Bellatrix's face, I think she turned out really, really pretty. Like, I love her face. And I looked at other people's online, and they're not all the same. The faces don't all come out the same. I don't know if it's just a difference in stitching, or if people have changed colors. I'm very happy with the way mine came out. I think she looks beautiful. But not all the faces are the same. It's really weird. Okay, so I showed you Eva, Autumn, Pixie, Enchantress. Oh, Ella is the other one I worked on. Ella. Yes. And I worked on her quite a bit. This is Ella, the Frog Princess by Memorabilia. This is the only fancy lady so far that I am stitching with the 1/1 skin. She's the first one I started, and I just decided to do it. And I don't know why I didn't choose to do it on any other ones I've started. It's kind of like a pain to do, but it looks really neat. And I do have hanging threads because I can only do so much at a time. I moved up the pattern. This actually, the bodice of her dress is completed because what's left is beads, and then above that is all going to be the 1/1 skin. And then I moved in the shoulder where there's a big flower and was working on that. But you can see I did there's a bunch of like skin bits that are done, and yeah. So, and the 1/1, of course, is going to take, you know, 4 times as long, because for each regular stitch, a 1/1 is 4 stitches. So yes, that slows it down quite a bit, which isn't surprising. Okay. So that's all of the ladies I worked on this week. And then in addition, I did work on my Twisted Rainbow sampler by Northern Expressions. Okay, come on. My drawstring isn't drawing because I have it caught. There we go. Okay. Ugh. Okay, so I have decided I'm definitely going to try and like do all the way across, so that, you know, so I can get all of the colors in that are going to be at least in this area, and then, you know, get down here and move it up for the tension. So as you can see, I moved down in the cross stitch area, and then I started this specialty stitch band. Now this specialty stitch band was challenging, but not that bad. This one, it was giving me quite the problems. I think I was working on it Sunday night or Sunday afternoon, and it was like, forget it. I can't. I started doing these scallop stitches, which wasn't too bad. But then this next stitch, which I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, I mean, in theory, I could see how it was done. I just couldn't see it. I for the life of me, I pulled out the first one that I did like 20 times. Like I put it in, I pulled it out. I put it in, I pulled it out. The thread was getting all fuzzy because I was like pulling it out so much. So I was getting a little bit frustrated, because it's like, you know, these stupid specialty stitches are not going to defeat me. And I sit there and I tell you guys, you know, it's no big deal, just go for it. And, you know, people are like, oh, I'm afraid to try the specialty stitches. And I'm like, don't be afraid, just do it. So it was not going to defeat me, so that I couldn't, you know, the entire issue was the seeing of it. So this kind of brings me into my haul, my only piece of haul. I went onto Amazon and I bought this, which is a magnifying light. This is a 10 times magnifier, and it's got the light, and it doesn't charge. It's just like the setup, the ring light that I have for my filming. You have to have it plugged in, and then it has, you know, the little thing where you can adjust the color and stuff like that. It's a little bit heavy. It was like $35. I wanted something that would clip on, because I was trying, when I was having trouble, I had like this magnifying plate thing, and I was trying to hold it and stitch, and, you know, I would need to be an octopus to do that. So I wanted something that would clip onto my project. It's a little heavy. Like, I would not use this except for when I'm doing the specialty stitches, but because I have this in the scroll frame, and, you know, and it's wood, I can clip it onto one of the 4 sort of corner areas, and it holds pretty well. And with this, then I was able to go forward and do these stitches. And, you know, they're still not perfect. As I go down the row, I'm getting better. But it made a world of difference in being able to see the holes to do the stitches, because I know how to do it in theory. It's just getting your needle in the right hole to come up, you know, to make the stitches. So I think I'm for this chart gonna live in the world of good enough, and, you know, not be overly picky as to how perfect the stitches are. I mean, I'm gonna not keep blatant errors. And as I went through, I had done the scallop stitches without the magnifier. When I had the magnifier, I went through and I saw that some of them were wrong. So I did pull out a couple and replace them. The middle stitch, each of these bands is like several stitches. So this one is like 3 different stitches. And you do the scallop and then this one and then this one in the one color, and then this is the same as this, and then you do scallop going the other way with the next color. This middle one is not as hard as this one. So anyway, I don't know that I would be able to do some of these stitches without the magnification. But I'm still enjoying it. I probably have to do it in small bites. You know, work on it for half an hour and then put it away, or then do the straight cross stitch. I have no problem with doing the cross stitch. I mean, this is only a 32 count. It's not like super, super tiny, but it is dark, and, you know, certain fabrics are easier to see than other fabrics, and yeah, that's just how it is. But I still think it's looking good, and I'm pleased with it. I don't know if, you know, working with the Sulky makes it harder or easier. Again, it's not the thread I'm having trouble seeing. It's like just which hole to go into when you have these specialty stitches where you have a block of, you know, of 6 by 6, and the needle has to go into each hole at one point, you know. But anyway. So I did post it on Instagram. So if you want to find that picture and make it bigger, you can see all of the non-perfection of the stitches. But, you know, as I said, it's going to be accepting good enough. And, you know, and the very top border and side borders, especially in the specialty stitch, well, in the specialty stitch rows, may not be perfect. Again, I don't care. This is like a learning exercise. It's, you know, it's doing something different and in learning how to do things, and I'm happy with it. Couldn't do it without the magnifier though, so that was a good purchase. As I said, it's a 10 times magnifier and a light. So, and I still stitch with my 4 times glasses. So, yeah, so what is that? 4 times and plus 10 times? I don't know. I don't know how that adds up when you're talking about magnification, but with all of that, I was able to see and do the stitches. And then the next band looks like it's gonna be super easy because it's like satin stitches and then something in the middle. And satin stitches I can handle. Yeah, so that one I'm not worried about. Okay, so that was it for my stitching this week. Although I think I was pretty prolific with my stitching. And that was the only haul I had. I do have to admit that I did put in a couple orders this week. When I was doing the beading video last week, I was showing my little bead tool, which made me feel like, you know what, I have a bunch of beading that's going to be coming up on these ladies. I'm being, you know, optimistic here that I'm going to get them done in a timely fashion. So I decided I wanted a couple more of those little beading tools, which are like $1.69. So I obviously wasn't going to just order those. They do have them on Amazon, but they're like $6 or something on Amazon, and I couldn't justify that. So I did go on 1-2-3 Stitch, and I ordered a couple of those, and then when I was in there, I looked around, and I found a cute little, I think it's Tiny Modernist, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll show you when I get it. But I found a Biscornu that was a lion, which I think is what I'm going to do for my August lion that I do every year. I always do, on my birthday month, I do a lion something, because I'm a Leo, and then I do my black cat birthday sow. So I was thinking ahead to what lion thing am I going to do? And I think I'm going to do that biscornu, because I've never done a biscornu, so it's a good time to do one. And then because I'm enjoying my all the pretty ladies so much, there's one Mirabilia that I have had my eye on for a while, and I decided to go ahead and just order it just in case. Like, I know they do go out of print occasionally, and so I found it on eBay with all the beads for a decent price. So I ordered Bianca Bella. She also reminds me of my mom. I don't know why, but I think my mom kind of looked like Snow White when she was younger. I have I don't know if it's high school graduation or college picture of her that was actually tinted. And she has kind of like the 60s like hair flip, but it's tinted in the same colors as Bianca Bella. I'll have to try and pull it out when I get that pattern to show you why. It just reminds me of my mom. So I did get that, although I'm not planning to start that one right away. But what I am planning to start, I had this one in my stash, and I've had it for quite a while. And I was thinking about it, and I'm going to start her in May, because I'm going to do my cat mania again. I know mania, maybe it isn't a thing anymore. I don't know. But I've been doing my themes every month anyway, as you guys know. And I liked the idea of doing a whole cat month in May. So I'm going to continue to do that. Whether anybody else is doing mania or not, doesn't matter. So I don't want to start a bunch of things. I want to basically work on whips, but it's always fun to start one or two things. And so I'm going to start Florentina in May, because she is depicted with that cute kitty. So I already had the beads. This chart is light on beads. It's only got 2 or 3 bead packs. Heavy on silks. It has like 7 silks in it. Rather have the beads. Beads are cheaper than silk. A pack of beads is under $2. A skein of silk is 6 something. So you do the math there. But anyway, so she was, so I ordered all of her flosses. I pulled out all the flosses that I had. Of course, I had none of the silk colors. I have a whole bag of silks, and I didn't have any of the colors that were called for here. But I ordered all of the threads that were needed for her. My friend had given me a 1, 2, 3 stitch gift card at the holidays, so I hadn't used it yet, and I used it for this. So I pulled out all of her colors, or I mean, I ordered all the colors that I didn't have. These are the colors that I do have. So now the next challenge is to figure out the fabric for her. So I went through, she's actually stitched, the model was stitched on the 32 count. So I guess I could stitch it either on 28 or 32. So I pulled out all of my fabrics that I thought that I have that were the right size that I thought would work. And now I have to figure out what I'm going to do. I thought this one actually is kind of a cool choice, but then I think not, because I'm afraid it's too light. But this is a 32 count Lugana in Mint Splash. She was originally done in white chocolate. So I don't know. What do you guys think? So I'm gonna hold up all these fabrics and you tell me what you think. So that could be an interesting choice. Then I have a 28 count Jaslyn in Spring Green. This is a 32 count Jobelin from Bestitch Me in Sea Glass. And this is 32 count Opal Lugana from Hamddyed by Rolanda, which you know is one of my very favorites. Now the only thing is that her dress is like really bluey, purpley. I mean, it's white, but the shadows are all this bluey, purpley. And I kind of think that Bianca Bella would look really good on this. So I'm kind of not leaning towards this one, even though it's probably one of my favorites in this whole pile. And then I have, are these all pull stitches? Okay, then I have another hand dyed by Rolanda. Oops. This one is a 28 count Opal Lugana. And then the other four that I have, these are all, I got these off of eBay, and they're all pull stitches, Jobelins. And I'm leaning towards one of these, but I'm still not sure which one. I'm still not sure. So this one is called Abyss. It's got a lot of colors in it. This one is called Colorful Cloud. Again, lots of colors. This one is no name. This has got much more peachy pinky tone to it. And then this one is called Forbidden Seas. Again, I'm not sure that the blue is a good idea because it might blend in too much with the blue of the dress. So, those are my choices. And pulling all these choices is not making it any easier for me to pick. So, it's going to be one of these. But if you guys have an opinion, please share it. So again, this is Florentina. So the dress is whites and actually a lot of blues. And then it's got this kind of greeny teal bench. She's blonde. She's got kind of yellowy flowers. I don't know. First I thought this would be too light, but looking at the color of the original fabric, maybe not. So I don't know. I know I'm stitching on this fabric in pink for the piece I'm doing for my mom, and it's really nice to work with. So that would definitely be different. What do you guys think? Help! Okay, so that is kind of plans. I mean, way ahead of time plans, because that's for May. February is going to be florals. So I have a couple specifically floral whips that I'm going to be working on. And in addition, I think I'm still going to keep working on the Autumn Equinox Fairy, and I think maybe Ella the Frog Princess, because she's got the big flowers on her dress, just because I'm not ready to let those girls go. I'm having so much fun stitching on the ladies. So it's funny because when I look back at some of my beginning videos, I think I made a comment about how Mirabilias were so gorgeous, but I don't want to stitch on any of them. Well, now that's changed because I want to stitch on only that. Yeah, and then I'm not going to put Eva away until she's done. So hopefully she will be done fairly quickly. I think that's it. Next week I'll have pulled out all of the floral patterns to show you what I'll be working on in February, and then March, I think I'm either going to have like a, you know, pot of gold at the end of the rainbow theme because it's March, or I might I don't know. I might do friends and family for either March or April. April is my mom's birthday month, so I'm thinking maybe I'll do friends and family during April. But I want to maybe try and finish the tribute piece to my mom, which is the Purple Rose, next month when I'm doing florals. So we'll see. I have all of these plan things brewing, which is part of my fun with stitching is making of the plans. So anyway, until I see you guys again, don't forget today is the stitching meetup. If you haven't gotten the codes already from me, please message me on Instagram, and I will try and get them to you before 2 o'clock. What time is it now? It's 10:30. So hopefully this video will get uploaded quickly, and it will be up before noon, and then you'll have 2 hours to message me. But if you happen to watch it right away. Anyway, until I see you again, I hope you guys have a great week, and please remember to be content, be kind, be crafty. Bye-bye.